Pope Francis apologized on Wednesday for having angrily slapped a woman's arm when she had grabbed hold of his hand and yanked him towards her, saying he had lost his patience and set a bad example.
Here's a summary of the article.
Vatican Cityvatican City, Pope Francis apologized on Wednesday for having angrily slapped a woman's arm when she had grabbed hold of his hand and yanked him towards her, saying he had lost his patience and set a bad example. His unusual apology came after he used his first homily of the new year to denounce violence against women, which he compared to profaning God. A clearly disgruntled Francis wrenched himself free by slapping down at her arm. "So many times we lose patience, even me, and I apologize for yesterday's bad example," the Pope told thousands of pilgrims gathered in St. Peter's Square on Wednesday at the end of the traditional New Year Mass. He had used the service to issue a forthright condemnation of the abuse of women in modern society. "All violence inflicted on women is a desecration of God," he told a packed St. Peter's Basilica. Advertisement. During his homily, Francis also addressed another theme close to his heart, immigration, saying women who moved abroad to provide for their children should be honored, not scorned. The Pope said last April the Church had to acknowledge a history of male domination and sexual abuse of women.
This post received a score of 14,128, with an upvote ratio of 94%. Here are the top comments in response to this article.
"I think the slap was a reasonable, probably instinctual, reaction, and while an apology should be unnecessary, I can understand why he did. He wants to be able to turn the other cheek and all that. But at least he shows his humanity sometimes. And the ability to apologize is a good thing. I mean, I've had a child bite me while nursing asleep and I was also half asleep and it startled me, so my reaction was to smack them. Not hard and it didn't even wake them, but I still felt bad.
It's so hard not to eat your baby when they bite you like that. I did the whole put your baby down so they learn biting equals no more boob thing. Wheel, fast forward to when my son decided to start weaning and he'd just chomp me whenever he didn't want to nurse.
That backfired spectacularly.
Pavlov's nipple gave me a giggle. XD. Wonder if it'd be more effective to pinch your baby back. Associating pain with biting would be effective, wouldn't it? That'd be a fascinating subject for infant development research.
My grandmother always advised this route. Bite me and I'll bite you back. Don't know what long-term consequences it may have, but seemed effective.
Someone else's problem, don't worry about it.
Yeah, pretty much. Once you drop the kid off in the middle of the woods, the biting instinct will probably be useful. I mean, she grabbed him without consent. He totally can defend himself. Greater than I mean, she grabbed him without consent. Which in and of itself is a really weird way to go about getting yourself a papal blessing. IIRC assaulting the Pope is a latae sententiae, i.e. automatic excommunication according to canon law. Not sure I'd personally risk those stakes if I were into this whole religion thing.
To be fair, in Luke chapter 8, a woman grabbed the hem of Jesus' robe without his permission and she was healed. Obviously the Pope isn't Jesus, and grabbing his arm is decidedly different than touching his clothes, but there's a dubious biblical precedent here.
Grabbed, or touched. He said, "Who touched me?"
Greater than obviously ... Grabbing his arm is decidedly different than touching his clothes.
Louder, son.
BUTLICKER. Our prices have never been lower.
My family built this country, by the way. I am irate.
Being a public, religious, political, etc. figure does not entitle others to ignore your autonomy and touch you against your will. His reaction was reasonable, and while he's kind to apologize, it is unnecessary. He did nothing wrong.
Building off of this, it isn't uncommon for the Pope to allow people to touch his arms, hands, robes as he walks past. He consents to that action. The part that went beyond consent was the abrupt yank, which he could not see coming. He didn't need to apologize, but forgiveness is a teaching set as every Our Father prayer, as we forgive those who trespass against us. Edit, spelling.
This video was automatically created by Reddit to speech. The article and comments in this video were selected from Reddit according to their upvotes, and any paraphrasing was performed by smmry.com, without any human intervention.